to that time radio program. I'm Billy. I'm here with my buddy Don. Hi, Don.
Hello.
All right, that's the end of the show. We're done. That's how my day's going.
Oh my God, your day is horrible. I'm sorry you're having such a shit day.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to make it better.
So, if anybody noticed, young William made a big boo-boo the past 2 episodes and accidentally flipped them. So, when you listen to the newest episode, you'll be like, Halloween was a month ago. Yes, it was. It was a month ago. And Billy accidentally mislabeled the episodes. But that's okay because it doesn't really matter. We pre-record right now. Someday we won't be pre-recording. Someday we will actually be recording live. Yeah, you heard it here.
Yep.
We're working on that.
We're manifesting.
We're trying. I'm manifesting, all right. Something manifesting.
You need to manifest some positive energy right now.
Yeah, it's not been a good day for me. But that's okay. I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm not going to cry.
Never going to give you up.
All right, so
let you down.
It seems to be every time we talk about this specific episode we're going to do, weird shit happens around our lives.
That's exactly what I said.
Yes.
Exactly
The last time that we were going to do this episode, I had a major catastrophic hard drive failure and lost all of our episodes.
Lost everything.
And my internet wouldn't work that day.
Yes.
And today my hot water's not working. And there's a whole bunch of other weird shit going on.
And the internet again.
And the interwebs. But that's all right. I can deal with the interwebs. That's an easy fix. The other stuff makes me want to go on a 3-state shooting spree.
Let's not do that. No postal Billy.
But I did have some bright spots. We got some freaking emails. From some peoples. The first one that I'm going to talk about, I talked about the last episode, I believe. And that was our friend Cassie. Which I just have to say, she sounds pretty hot. Just by the way she types.
You think everybody's hot.
Hey, Cassie. I'm saying.
Not that you're not hot. I'm just saying.
I don't know. She probably is super hot. I'm just saying. But anyway, she was talking about, she was listening to our episode about Ed and Lorraine Warren. And this is what she had to say. She said, hey guys, I was listening to the most recent episode today, Ed and Lorraine Warren, and heard you guys talking about the Annabelle doll and how a glass container shouldn't be able to contain the spirit or demon. Then I happened to come across this in my news feed. I follow Judy Spear, their daughter. I consider myself an open-minded skeptic, so after hearing the episode, I'm not sure if the Warrens are legit or not. Neither am I, Cassie, neither am I. But I thought it was an interesting explanation. Anyway, thanks for keeping the show going. You guys are awesome. So she uploaded a screening for me of a conversation, somebody standing in front of the Annabelle doll in the little glass box. And apparently the little glass box has a devil card tarot on the front and a cross.
It looks like it's held in a little church. Like somebody built it with a glass door.
They put a little red light in there to make
it creepy.
Raggedy Ann creepy. Which Raggedy Ann doesn't need any lighting to be creepy because it's just fucking creepy. There's a cute girl standing in front of it. I don't know if that's Cassie. Call me Cassie. No. Anyway.
Cassie.
Yeah, right? So anyway, somebody had asked about what the card was on the box above the lock, and another person had commented that it was the devil card, and it's a higher arcana card in the tarot, and it can mean different things depending on the deck. This one is being used to bind the spirit that is in Annabelle to the box, as in to keep it trapped. I don't believe that. I don't believe tarot cards are used that way. If anybody wants to refute me, come at me, bro. Because I've never heard that before in my life, and I've read tarot cards since I was 16 years old.
No.
So,
correct.
I don't know what to tell you. But, we had another email, too. Did you know we had 2 emails, Dawn? 2.
Cool.
1, 2.
I love emails.
Yes, and I was excited about this one because these people were really awesome, and it was really fun being with them. And this is the family that was with us when we did our USS Yorktown investigation. So Clark says, hope you are doing well. We just now listened to the podcast from the USS Yorktown. We had such a blast with your team. Thanks for letting us be a small part of your show. You were more than a small part, my friend. You were a large part.
You were a large part, yes.
A lot of stuff actually revolved around your daughter and the activity that she got around her. So that was really awesome.
Yep.
He says, if you have these photos, have those photos of the orbs or anything else you can share, we would love it. If you get close to St. Louis, we would love to be included in another show. Best of luck to you all. Well, thank you, Clark. Thank you,
Clark,
for listening. We loved your family. We had a blast with you guys.
Yeah, we had so much fun.
And you are more than welcome to go over to, look at this shameless plug, perfectly right into it, thedeadtimeradioshow.com. And you can see the pictures there.
We have the pictures up there, yeah.
Of the orbs. And we also have the picture of the video of the
little man dancing.
The little dancing, the wireframe dude dancing, where there was nobody in
behind
the hallway.
us, right.
So that was really awesome, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I hope you had a good... It looks like you had as much fun as we did. So if anybody else wants to send us emails, send it to thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com. It's that easy. You just type, "Hey, Billy, I love you. I want to marry you. I want to bear your children." And I will respond with, "What do you look like?" That's it. That's all I ask.
No, it's not all he'll ask. PSA.
Don, you're screwing up my mojo.
We've been best friends for a while, so maybe they should text me first.
What's Billy like? Is it true? Is as sexy as he seems? Yes, it's all true.
Mama said.
So, without all of that out of the way, are you saying that I have a face only a mother could love?
Mama said, if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all.
If I have a face only a mother can love, how many single moms do we have listening? They're mothers. I'm just saying. That's some solid logic right there.
Man, you can twist anything around, can't you?
That's right.
We have a new tech in there, and he's kind of like, he waited, like she said things that were like, I'm like, I can't believe he didn't respond to what she said, because he was trying to be not inappropriate, and it lasted all of 45 minutes. Like we timed him.
I was a good boy. I did well.
For 45 minutes, Billy.
That's a good boy for me.
She was there for a while.
All right? That's a good boy for me. You should be impressed with my
really
fortitude at the moment.
Your face looked like you were in pain.
I was in pain
because
there was a lot of. She walked right into a whole bunch of juicy ones, and I was just like, "What?"
You looked at me like, "Help me!" You look like you were
right. Guy was Princess Leia in a holograph. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi! You're my only hope.
45 minutes you were in the hologram.
It was brutal. It was brutal. I will give you that. So without further ado, I'm going to let you know what we're talking about today. We are going to talk about the theory that the moon is not a real object in the sense of
that it's not a star.
It's not a satellite of the Earth.
It's not a star.
Of course it's not a star. It's a moon. Stars are different.
Oh, that's the sun. I'm sorry. It's Monday.
It's not a celestial body.
Right.
It is actually a space station. Which means that we have our own personal Death Star orbiting our planet.
We have a marble in the sky,
It's fucking beautiful. I hope Darth Vader comes down soon and says, "Join the Empire." I would join the Empire in a second. In a second. You had me at Darth Vader if he came down.
Okay.
I'm Darth Vader. Please join the Empire. You had me at Vader.
You had me at Darth. You had me at Duh.
You had me at... Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know if they're going to be good or bad when they get
It's
here.
the Empire. It's good.
No, but you don't know that. You know it now because you've already seen the movie. But when they get here, how are you going to know?
I would still join.
But you might be joining the good guys.
3 reasons why they're the good guys. First of all, their fucking uniforms were awesome. Their technology's awesome. And Darth Vader's awesome. Okay? Those 3 things alone would totally help me not have a problem with joining and wiping out the rebel insurgents who were basically trying to ruin the galaxy with their insipid little band of rebels.
My point is, when the aliens get here, they're not going to look anything like you think they're going to look. So
I'm sure they won't.
You don't know who's going to be good or bad.
I think there's already aliens here, man.
Well, we did a show on that, too, so I agree with that.
Yes, we did. So the moon, the hollow moon theory. Is the moon an artificial satellite? This is what the question of the Gaia staff asked from www.gaia.com, where I'm reading this, which kind of funny. They're talking about hollow moon, and then like up in the top it says you can also learn about yoga and meditation. Okay. Have at ye, bro. That's how you say that That's how you say it in the medieval English. Come at me, bro. Have at ye, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, you like that?
Uh-huh.
Have at ye, sibling. The moon is often described as having divine feminine energy, the female counterpart to our sun. It is a sacred source of cosmic phenomena, providing us with beautiful eclipses, changing tides, and hopefully a future staging point for missions to Mars and beyond. But when we start to look at the moon under a closer lens, a number of aberrant characteristics suggest that it might be hollow, and there may be a secret base on the moon. I love the fact they use the word aberrant. It's such a underused word, and it's such a cool word.
So can I say that we had a full moon this weekend?
We
so
did, and an
with
eclipse.
the moon,
We had an eclipse this week, too.
Yeah. You
Last
said,
week.
yeah, you saw it.
That's
you
why
said
everybody was acting cray-cray.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just fixing to say. So does that mean that when there is a full moon that we get the full effect of this hollow moon of whatever they're doing? So are we feeling the EMF effects of all of the activity on full effect? Because it's not on the other side. It is in direct point to us. So with it affecting the tides and it affecting people's mental capacities and or them not being able to hold their mental capacity, they're completely crazy. And periods, like your menstrual cycle and stuff. So does that mean that when it's facing us, that's why we're affected?
That's a good theory, but you already know my theory. Humanity's garbage in the first place, so they're always cray-cray. I think maybe it's because it's a little bit of a brighter light during that time that we see more of the cray-cray, because the light's shining on all the cray-cray.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. People are fucking batshit crazy, especially.
But I mean, it does wane. Like when you don't have a full moon, there's not as many crazies.
But they're still there. They're just hidden in the darkness.
So they come out when the light.
Yeah, I think they just.
So does it draw them out?
It's like roaches.
Does it draw them out?
It's
Billy has a roach story.
No, Billy's not sharing that roach story.
He
That's
almost
gross.
died. He almost died.
The moon rings like a bell, Dawn. The Apollo missions and subsequent moon landings have been at the center of controversy and conspiracy for years. There's been an interminable debate. Another good word to use. I think I like
He's a wordsmith.
I like this article person.
I think he has Grammarly. Because it gives you choices.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I like this. This is good.
Everybody needs Grammarly.
So far, Grammarly. This has been a very good article.
Right.
We'll see how long that lasts.
It's Gaia.
As to whether we actually landed on the moon, what was found there, or to what extent NASA has been hiding information from us. But amid the quarreling and speculation, the number of anomalous features on the moon has puzzled scientists and conspiracy theorists alike. Toward the latter end of the Apollo missions, NASA astronauts placed seismic recording devices on the lunar surface to document artificial and natural moonquakes. Now, why would they even ask for artificial in the first place if they didn't already know something weird was going on the moon?
So I think the first time they went, they realized this isn't right when they went to the moon. I think they cut a lot of the things that when they got there, when they landed there the first time, they're like, oh shit, this is not what we expected.
Yeah, we'll get into that because I believe that's where most of this came from. So maybe that's why they put
the artificial and natural moonquakes. Yeah. So the artificial could be things landing on the moon or hitting the moon, and then the moonquakes is actually the moon having a quake.
So their equipment recorded activity ranging from meteorite strikes to man-made explosions. Man-made explosions?
So they're...
Maybe they were shooting fucking nukes. I don't know. And crash landings of Apollo rockets. Even the sun's heat created seismic activity when it caused the moon to thaw on a daily basis. The astronauts were given a series of ALSEPs, or Apollo Lunar Surface Experiment Packages. I have one of those. To set up seismographs and initiate detonations ranging from shotgun-like charges to mortars with multiple grenades. There's a war going on, apparently, on the moon.
On the moon?
Fucking shotguns and mortars.
We learned something new. Grenades, man.
Eventually, NASA intentionally crash-landed the Apollo 12 module, as well as the Saturn IV-B rocket, setting off an explosive force equivalent to nearly 12 tons of TNT.
Wow.
You know, if there's aliens living on the moon, that's a real good way to go. piss them off.
Yeah.
And be like,
That's what we
bitch,
did.
you're fucking shaking my house up.
That's what happened.
I just put all my knickknacks on a shelf, and you knocked the shelf off, broke all my knickknacks.
Can you imagine?
Some of those knickknacks are priceless, bitch. I got them from Uranus. I had to get Uranus in there.
You had
I
this.
to.
I know.
It's space.
We knew this was going to happen. So, Granny's getting mad because all of her knickknacks are falling
Right.
off, and that was her favorite bunny.
Yes.
You
Granny
just broke
Alien
the ear off
grabbed
her
the
favorite
bunny
bunny.
from Uranus, and now that bunny's in pieces.
The bunny from Uranus. We're going to do a shirt.
Yes.
Granny grabbed the bunny from Uranus.
Yes.
That's a T-shirt.
Yes.
I need to write that down. Hold on.
That's a new fucking saying. I'm going to start using that. I'm going to use that up there with, I just wanted some cornbread, motherfuckers. God damn,
You
that
gotta
was
tell 'em where
Sam
the-
Rockwell was so great in that movie. That's The Green Mile. If nobody's ever watched it, Sam Rockwell is fucking amazing in that movie. What they found was the moon rings like a bell, reverberating sometimes for hours at a time. Not knowing much about the moon's material composition, NASA and the Apollo astronauts were astounded by what they had heard and the results that it entailed. Clearly, the moon's density was significantly less than the Earth's. The moon is a little more than 1/4 of the size of Earth, another bizarre characteristic compared to any other natural satellite in our cosmic region. Of all the moons in the solar system, ours is the 5th largest. No other planet that we're aware of has a moon that is as proportionately big as ours. That's what she said. All other planets with moons that size are massive gas giants.
That's what she said. That's exactly what she said.
Neptune, the closest in size with a moon that big, is 4 times the size of Earth. How big is the one in Uranus? Oh, they fucking write themselves. Love it. The moon is about 2,100 miles in diameter compared to the Earth's nearly 8,000 mile diameter, yet the mass of the moon is only 1.2% of Earth's, while the volume of the moon is only 2% of Earth's. After NASA conducted these tests, it concluded that the moon has a similar composition to our planet, although significantly less dense, with a 31-mile crust of mineral plagioclase, a mantle of olivine and pyroxene, and a very small core of iron and sulfur.
How do they know what the core is?
How
could they tell what the core is?
I'm not sure.
Did they drill down that far?
I don't know.
Then-
Who knows what they've done on the
So
moon?
if they drilled in the core, that means it's not hollow.
That's probably where the fucking second Jeffrey Epstein pedo island was, from the way this sounds. Like, they know everything about the moon, but we've only landed there once, twice, 3 times, a lady? I don't know, dude. Something doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right if they're saying what the core is and then they're saying that it's hollow. Because
Yeah,
the hollow wouldn't
okay.
have a core.
And now, as you continue this sentence here, but when the Apollo astronauts first landed on the moon, they had difficulty drilling into the surface of the craters, which are anomalies in themselves. How
So-
could you have difficulty with all that, like, soft rock?
Because they're landing holes.
Yeah.
They're steel.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're getting into.
Yeah. Well, you just asked the question, and I
know.
haven't read this, so.
Nor have I, my friend. Nor have I.
Okay.
Let me just spit out some
Gross,
beans.
man.
Bean skin.
Ew.
Craters are thought to be the result of meteorite and asteroid impacts, meaning there should be a certain proportion between their depth and width. That's what she said.
Okay, so maybe when something hit it, maybe it turned to like rock. Because you know, like when stuff superheats and then
'cause
it turns to
gets super
crystal
hot,
and then it, yeah.
But
So you change
still,
the molecular makeup of the sand. So the sand then turns to
there's more
glass
to
or
it.
whatever. Yeah.
There's more to the
Okay,
theory.
I'm just saying my theory.
Instead, many wider craters have similar depths to significantly narrower craters, with some even appearing convex. And when astronauts attempted to drill into the craters, they were barely able to penetrate the surface, discovering processed metals like brass, mica, and pure titanium.
Pure titanium?
Yeah.
Wow.
And titanium is actually
That's
a
the
hybrid metal.
Hard stuff, right?
That's the stuff they make planes out of.
Yeah.
That's the stuff they make hip screws out of.
Oh.
Things like that. It's an alloy. It's not
Is
a
it
natural metal.
Non-ferrous?
Yes, it is non-ferrous, which means it's not magnetic.
Right.
But why would you find titanium in a place where? Why would there be an alloy of titanium on the moon? So that's what we're finding.
I would think it'd have to be brought
Right.
there.
So in 1970, the moon is a spaceship, a secret moon base? In 1970, 2 Soviet astronomers had been studying the satellite and theorized that it was likely a hollow moon put in place by a highly advanced extraterrestrial race. Go fucking figure. The Russians. The Russians came up with this theory.
Hey, look, this little drawing they have. You know, have you ever done the string thing with like Cats in the Cradle, where you do the two string? It looks like the moon is in the middle of Cats in the Cradle.
Yeah.
Between the sun and the earth. Cool, I like that. I can remember that.
Their theory was based on these observable anomalies, claiming the moon was an artificial shell that had been inhabited internally for years. While it might seem far-fetched that we are being surveilled by an extraterrestrial race on the moon, or that a hollow moon may have been intentionally placed in Earth's orbit as a secret moon base, there are a plethora of inexplicable facts about its relationship with the Earth. To this day, there are several theories that attempt to explain how the moon ended up orbiting our planet, though none have been absolutely accepted, leading many to believe that the moon is a spaceship. Without the moon orbiting precisely where it is, it's possible that life on Earth wouldn't exist, or at least wouldn't have evolved to the point that it has. In fact, it is estimated that less than 10% of all terrestrial planets in the universe have an Earth-to-moon ratio like ours, which provides the stability that is necessary to maintain a climate that can harbor life.
So they're saying aliens put it there?
That's what they're getting at. Aliens.
Okay.
The size of the moon is such that it affects our axial tilt, or the way that the Earth wobbles on its axis, changing by a single degree over the course of thousands of years. This relegation to 1 degree of movement is necessary for climatic stability. Without the moon's balance, the Earth could tilt as much as 85 degrees every million years or so, causing drastic changes. This would adjust the orientation of the Earth to the sun so significantly that the sun would shift to be situated directly over the poles rather than the equator where it currently is. Life could not evolve during such radical shifts.
They think that's what happened because we keep having little shifts. So that's what where Atlantis went. It just went underwater.
Well, I'm sure that some of the other articles that I looked through
poles
might pop it up with the whole ancient alien theory.
Right.
But apparently people are speaking of like the old Sumerian text talking about a time when there was no moon in the sky.
So they brought it.
And it specifically says no moon in the sky, before there was a moon in the sky.
Right.
Where it was like what was written in some old texts that they found.
So then the aliens made it for balance, supposedly.
Right.
To balance out
our overlords that actually created us, created that moon.
Or that's watching us like Hunger Games.
So, is the moon artificial? There are 2 ways that planets typically acquire moons. Through accretion or capture. The process of capturing a moon is just like it sounds. A moon will drift into the orbit of a planet and become trapped in its gravitational field. In the process of accretion, a moon is formed at the same time as the planet from the accretion disk of the solar system. But this theory has been widely dismissed due to the differences in core composition and the fact that the moon is almost 1 billion years older than the Earth. In fact, the mineral composition of rocks found on the surface of the moon varies drastically from those found on Earth.
So the moon itself's an alien.
Yeah, it sounds like it. The abundance of titanium is one example of such an anomaly, with certain lunar samples containing up to 10% of this precious mineral.
That's what you said a minute ago.
The highest abundance of titanium-rich minerals on Earth has never exceeded 1%. There are other processed metals found on the moon, like mica and brass, as well as the presence of radioactive elements like uranium-236 and neptunium, none of which are found naturally on Earth.
Neptunium? That would be from Neptune.
I've never heard what
Neptunium.
Neptunium.
And uranium.
Uranium.
So that means those things were space junk and then they hit the moon.
Possibly. But mica and brass is another alloy. Brass is tin and copper.
A mix, right.
Right? Tin and copper? That's bronze.
I don't know what brass is.
I don't know what brass. I think brass is like nickel and copper, or nickel and tin or something.
Katie, what's brass made of?
Right? Katie, let us know what brass is. Well, we don't really want to look it up right now. These moon rocks brought back from the Apollo missions presented another surprise. They were magnetized. Scientists were baffled, having previously assumed that the moon never had a magnetic field. The Earth's magnetism is thought to be the product of an internal dynamo in which the rotating, convecting, and electrically conducting liquid iron in the core generates the field. However, the moon wasn't believed to have a large enough core to generate this type of dynamo mechanism.
Somebody's weed eating. Weed eating.
Hollow moon proof? According to Zulu legend, our hollow moon was put in place by 2 brothers with scaly fish-like skin.
Ooh.
The legends tell of Wawani and Mpanku, who brought the moon to Earth after stealing it from a great fire dragon. They are said to have emptied out the egg-like satellite of its yoke, subsequently placing it in orbit around the Earth. Prior to this, the planet was said to have been shrouded in a sheath of watery mist, which came raining down to Earth once the moon came into orbit.
Ooh, is that when, like, the flood? The 40-day flood? Because there's
possible.
a lot of
I
scientific evidence that there was a flood.
Never thought about putting that to correlating those two together, but yeah, it's quite possible.
So that's when the moon... We didn't have a moon before the Great Flood.
Right.
Because in every religion, they speak of a Great Flood.
Some believe that this deluge of water may be a reference to the Great Flood, look at you, that destroyed the antediluvian civilizations. The two brothers mentioned also bear similar characteristics to Enki and Enlil of ancient Sumerian lore, who were responsible for instituting the first civilizations of man and are often depicted wearing fish garb. Isn't that strange? Two different cultures from two different areas having similar descriptions.
No, that's all of the...
I know, I just find it odd. I find that always captivates me no matter where you go. There's similar descriptions for the same shit.
So major things happened, and they decided to write them down in their own religious texts.
Or their own words. It's kind of like when you're in school and your teacher says, okay, here's the subject, write in your own words what you know about the subject. And then, of course, your words are going to be totally different from the person sitting next to you.
Right.
Because they're going to interpret it differently.
Correct.
Another strange characteristic recorded on the moon from one of Apollo 14's Alceps was the presence of a cloud of water vapor on the moon. After 40 years, NASA reported finding the presence of water in rock samples brought back from these missions, stating that the discovery would change how we think about the moon. A further examination showed that this water had twice the levels of a deuterium isotope compared to water found on Earth. Furthermore, they said there was reason to believe that there are 600 million tons of water trapped in craters on the moon. That's a lot of water.
Oh, that's not good.
At the time of the Apollo 14's discovery of water vapor, NASA claimed that it was the result of ruptured water tanks that had leaked Earth water into the atmosphere. Okay. What? 600 million tons of water?
We're not that dumb.
They had 600 million tons of water in the water tank?
No.
Is that what they're saying?
Yes, NASA's
and how did
saying
it just magically pour up?
It went up.
Into space.
Because you have all the layers that's going to hold all that water in.
We have an atmosphere. If our atmosphere had 600 million tons of water, it wouldn't leak into space. It would drop back down to us.
Right, and the only tear we've had is because of all the Aquanet in the 80s, and then we had to fix the tear. So it would have leaked out then, but this was way before that.
Yeah.
600 million tons.
That's a lot of fucking
water trapped on the moon.
This cloud of vapor covered 100 square miles and lingered for 14 hours before dissipating, making NASA's explanation improbable. Considering the tanks that they were referring to only contained between 60 to 100 pounds of water.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to have a tank big enough to hold that much.
It's highly improbable that you're going to be... You know what holds 6 million tons of water? The fucking oceans.
Yeah.
NASA also claimed that the water from the ruptured tanks simultaneously burst. So 600 million tons of water just magically burst into the atmosphere and flew to the moon. Okay. Whatever. Though they were over 100 miles apart. Why would they make such an absurd claim, and why did it take 40 years to analyze and discover water in these rock samples brought back from the Apollo missions? Could the water be coming from an internal source? Perhaps one that NASA doesn't want us to know about.
So if there's 600 million tons of water, what are they doing inside there? Whatever it's doing is creating steam. So whatever they're doing is creating steam. So the water vapor, like they're saying, is created from inside the moon.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. It's just
That's weird. I've heard
better fucking explanations for Roswell than what I just heard from fucking NASA.
I've heard better explanations from flat earthers than what they just said.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Maybe that's what happened. The Earth really is flat, and 600 million tons of water slid off the side of it.
That's what I'm saying.
And fell onto the moon.
Yes. When we were upside down and the moon was behind us. It fell off of our butt onto the moon.
I don't know, man.
We got to quit doing the waterworks on the moon, man.
I guess.
It can't take any more than 600 million gallons.
Right? Not now. Granny doesn't have her bunny from Uranus. Now her fucking house is flooded.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Earthlings. Thanks a whole hell of a lot.
Earth.
This
Flat
is
Earth.
why we can't have nice things.
That's why we can't have nice
This is
things.
why we actually started a war against aliens when that happened, and that's why they're starting to show up and invade. They've had enough.
Well, they've been watching us from the moon, obviously, on that base.
So now we have.
Hey, maybe they're fish.
Maybe they are
600 million
fish people.
water. Maybe they need water to breathe.
The fish people.
There, we figured it out. There's fish people living in the hollow moon.
Newsinstact.com has a little article about alien news and an ancient alien space station to monitor Earth. Is it possible that, as History Channel suggests, the moon is actually a huge spacecraft allowing aliens to monitor planet Earth? After years of studying findings from moon missions, 2 government scientists revealed their shocking conclusion about the nature of the moon, that the moon is likely a creation of alien intelligence. I bet Giorgio had something to do with that too, Mr. Tsoukalos. The moon is an artificial engineered Earth satellite put into orbit around the Earth by some intelligent beings unknown to ourselves. Oh, see, it's a video. I don't want to deal with videos. We don't want to deal with videos. I don't know, dude. That's weird shit.
But if they're watching us, then we're Hunger Games. So what?
Maybe
what are
we're like
doing?
a live fucking. Maybe we're
So
reality TV for them.
They've got
like real reality
snow,
TV.
and he's got like the white roses
Who the
and
fuck
stuff.
knows, dude?
With the red blood drops on the white roses.
So there's 5 theories about the moon formation. Okay. And the first one is the capture theory, which was it proposes that the moon was captured by the gravitational pull of the Earth. The one main problem is the capture mechanism. A close encounter with Earth typically results in either collision or altered trajectories.
Right. So if that's everything that would come into our orbit would be in a moon slot.
Right. And this hypothesis has difficulty explaining the essentially identical oxygen isotope ratios of the 2 worlds. Number 2 is fission. This theory states that during a time when the Earth was forming and was still molten, the spinning of the planet projected our material, which became our moon today.
But that wouldn't make sense either because it would be just like space dust it would be like Saturn.
Well, it says the Pacific Ocean
So why
was
does Saturn
supposedly
not
the
have
area where the moon came from. However,
moon?
this was debunked considering the immaturity of the ocean floor crust and the knowing that the moon formed much longer ago.
That I don't agree with that either. If it projected this material, we would be Saturn. We'd have all that material floating around in a circle around.
Well, we probably were at one point. We did have other debris because there's the theory that we collided with another planet too. So the theory is that we collided with another planet, and that's how the moon was formed, from the bits that started rotating around us. And that chunk that came out, they're saying, from the Pacific Ocean is that chunk when the planets hit. But that doesn't make any sense, because if you see enough shit theories from science and from astronomers and stuff, they show when planets collide, it's colossal, and sometimes both are destroyed and then they're knocked way the fuck out of trajectory. It's kind of like the same thing with X-rays. When
Right.
an atom hits a hard surface,
Yep.
it breaks off an electron, and that's what creates the X-rays. And that electron goes flying off somewhere.
Right.
It either gets destroyed or it gets flying off somewhere.
Right.
So, look at that. We just taught people how X-rays are made. Fuck, we're awesome. We're a teaching show, people. A teaching show. So the third hypothesis is accretion. And this hypothesis states that the Earth and the Moon formed together as a double system from the primordial accretion disk of the solar system. Problem with this hypothesis is that it does not explain the angular momentum of the Earth-Moon system or why the Moon has a relatively small iron core compared to the Earth. 25% of its radius compared to the 50% for the Earth. The fourth theory is Geo-Reactor Explosion. I have those every week.
Yeah.
A more radical alternative hypothesis, published in 2010, proposes that the Moon may have been formed from the explosion of a georeactor located along the core mantle boundary of the equatorial plane of the rapidly rotating Earth. So in other words, the Earth shot its load out into space and became the Moon.
So the Moon is our space load?
Space spooge.
Space load.
Space spooge.
So it's all that
That was
crap
the
on
noise it
there?
made.
So your space boots have all that metal?
Yeah.
Titanium and
High
brass and iron.
It went,
Gross.
and there was the Moon. And the fifth theory is the giant impact theory. This is the one I was talking about. This was the most commonly accepted theory up until recently. This theory suggests that long ago, a planetary body the size of Mars crashed into Earth, expelling a large piece of mass into space, which became our moon. While this hypothesis explains many aspects of the Earth-Moon system, there are still a few unresolved problems facing it, such as the moon's volatile elements not being as depleted as expected from such an energetic impact. Another issue is lunar and Earth isotope comparisons. In 2011, the most precise measurement yet of the isotopic signatures of lunar rocks was published. Surprisingly, the Apollo lunar samples carried an isotopic signature identical to Earth rocks, but different from other solar system bodies. Since most of the material that went into orbit to form the moon was thought to come from Theia, the name scientists gave to the impactor, this observation was unexpected. That's what the ladies call me.
What?
The impactor?
Yeah. Or Theia.
In 2007, researchers from Caltech showed that the likelihood of Theia having an identical isotopic signature as the Earth was very small, less than 1%. Published in 2012, an analysis of titanium isotopes in Apollo lunar samples showed that the moon has the same composition as the Earth, which conflicts with the moon forming far from Earth's orbit. Sorry if I sound like I'm running in circles, but I have a crazy animal on me. Unfortunately, none of the previous theories provide the answers to the big questions surrounding the moon's origins. What's apparent, however, is the number of strange facts about the moon which conjure up many about its existence. Let's take a look at some of them. The age. The moon's far older than previously expected, maybe even older than the Earth or the Sun. How is that possible?
I don't know. It wouldn't be if it was formed by our cast off.
And it's even older than the sun.
It's older than no.
That doesn't sound right.
It's not right. It's not right.
The oldest age for the Earth is estimated to be 4.6 billion years old. Moon rocks were dated at 5.3 billion years old, and the dust upon which they were resting was at least another billion years old.
I don't know.
Some argue that the moon may seem older, but only because its surface never renews itself, and whereas the Earth may have rocks that are not old, but since been recycled through the natural resurfacing of the planet.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense that your moon is older than you are.
Yeah.
Unless, like the alien theories, that they took it from another system
Maybe.
and put it in our system.
Maybe. The rock's origin. I always thought he was from, like, one of the Polynesian islands.
He's Samoan.
Apparently he's from the moon.
That's different. This is not the rock. It's just
Oh,
a rock.
oh. I'm sorry, Dwayne Johnson. I didn't realize you were from the moon.
He's not from the moon.
The chemical composition of the dust upon which the rocks sat differed remarkably from the rocks themselves, contrary to accepted theories that the dust resulted from weathering and breakup of the rocks themselves. The rocks had to have come from somewhere else. Well, yeah, it got hit by a lot of asteroids and meteorites.
Maybe he is a beautiful moon man.
He
I'm
is-
still thinking of the rock. I'm
he is a
still
moon
thinking
man.
of the beautiful moon man.
He's a sexy man.
Moon man.
I mean, if
He's
I
a
were,
very sexy man.
if I played for that team, I'd probably be smelling what the rock was cooking.
Oh, he's on my list. I'll smell what you're cooking.
Heavier elements are on the surface. Normal planetary composition results in heavier elements in the core and lighter materials at the surface. Not so with the moon. Don Wilson writes in his book, Our Mysterious Spaceship Moon, the abundance of refractory elements like titanium in the surface areas is so pronounced that several geologists propose the refractory compounds were brought to the moon's surface in great quantity in some unknown way. They don't know how, but that it was done cannot be questioned. Water vapor. On March 7th, 1971, 21 days before I was born,
Oh, wow.
lunar instruments placed by the astronauts recorded a vapor cloud of water passing across the surface of the moon. The cloud lasted 14 hours and covered an area of about 100 square miles.
I like the lunar instruments played by the
Yeah,
astronaut.
I think
I would
that
listen
sounded
to that.
better.
Yeah.
Lunar instruments.
And it created the water vapor cloud.
We're going to play some lunar instruments for you now. They go like this.
That's the whole music.
Yeah, that's it. For hours on end, that's all you hear. Number 5, magnetic rocks. Moon rocks were magnetized. This is odd because there's no magnetic field on the moon itself. This could not have originated from a close call with Earth. Such an encounter would have ripped the moon apart. There have been many theories that aim to explain this magnetism. However, they all sit as theories.
Right, we just said titanium was non-ferrous.
Right. Seismic activity. Hundreds of moonquakes are recorded each year that cannot be attributed to meteor strikes. In November 1958, Soviet astronomer Nikolai A. Kozyrev of the Crimean Astrophysical Observatory photographed a gaseous eruption of the moon near the crater Alphonsus.
The moon farted.
Nobody ever photographs my gaseous eruptions.
No one
I'm
wants
a little
to.
offended.
Mm-mm.
My gaseous
No
eruptions
one wants
are
to
magnificent.
photograph a moon fart.
No.
I guess that would be if you're the first to see the moon fart.
Right?
1958.
Right? In Russia, moon fought on you. He also detected a reddish glow that lasted for about an hour.
That was the fart.
Sometimes I have gaseous eruptions that cause it.
That was the red
A
beans and
reddish
rice.
glow. In 1963, astronomers at the Lowell Observatory also saw reddish glows on the crests of ridges in the Aristarchus region.
So the moon has a GI bleed?
I guess
Farting
so.
GI
Maybe,
bleed?
Maybe.
That aerosolizes?
Just know there's no bar too low that I will set for a good joke. All right. Let's just put that out there.
Moon fart jokes.
These observations have proved to be precisely identical and periodical, repeating themselves as the moon moves closer to the Earth. These are probably not natural phenomena.
So it's something like, gassing off. Like if you drive by Asheville, they have the plants that shoot all that smoke in the air and stuff. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe. Number 7 is the hollow moon. The moon's mean density is 3.34 gm per centimeters cubed, 3.34 times an equal volume of water, whereas the Earth's is 5.5. What does this mean? In 1962, NASA scientist Dr. Gordon MacDonald stated, if the astronomical data are reduced, it is found that the data require that the interior of the moon is more like a hollow than a homogeneous sphere. Nobel chemist Dr. Harold Urey suggested the moon's reduced densities because of large areas inside the moon where there is simply a cavity.
She is trying to get into the cavity.
I know it. MIT's Dr. Sean C. Solomon wrote, the lunar orbiter experiments vastly improved our knowledge of the moon's gravitational field, indicating the frightening possibility that the moon might be hollow.
Why is that a frightening possibility that the moon might be hollow? Well, I don't understand.
Because it changes it turns a whole bunch of shit upside down. And in Carl Sagan's treatise, Intelligent Life in the Universe, the famous astronomer stated, a natural satellite cannot be a hollow object. Therefore, the moon may not be a natural satellite at all.
No, they just said it's man-made.
Number 8, moon echoes. On November 20th, 1969, the Apollo 12 crew jettisoned the lunar module ascent stage, causing it to crash onto the moon. The lunar module's impact, about 40 miles from the Apollo 12 landing site, created an artificial moonquake with startling characteristics. The moon reverberated like a bell for more than an hour.
Ooh.
This phenomenon was repeated with Apollo 13, intentionally commanding the third stage to impact the moon with even more startling results. Seismic instruments recorded that the reverberations lasted for 3 hours and 20 minutes and traveled to a depth of 25 miles, leading to the conclusion that the moon has an unusually light or even no core.
Ooh.
To put it in perspective, when the Earth experiences a large earthquake, the reverberations from the quake usually only last minutes due to the density of the planet.
Right, it stops.
So, could you imagine being an alien, chilling on the moon, minding your own fucking business, and then...
And there's a ringing in your head for 3 hours.
Boom! It's like living in an apartment complex, and you're all happy because it's like on the ground floor, it's all peaceful, and then a family of 5 moves in above you.
I was thinking about like music that somebody just like the bass music that like reverberates into your core that really aggravates you and sparks one of that anger thing where you're just like, shut that shit up. 3 hours of that.
3 hours.
Yeah, that would probably drive you to crazy.
It might drive you to invade the planet.
Probably to shut it off.
Yep. Number 9, the moon's origin. Before the astronauts' moon rocks conclusively disproved the theory, the moon was believed to have originated when a chunk of Earth broke off eons ago. Another theory was that the moon was created from leftover space dust remaining after the Earth was created. Analysis of the composition of moon rocks disproved this theory also. Another popular theory is that the moon was somehow captured by the Earth's gravitational attraction, but no evidence exists to support this theory. Isaac Asimov stated, "It's too big to have been captured by the Earth. The chances of such a capture having been affected and the moon then having taken up nearly circular orbit around our Earth are too small to make such an eventuality credible." I mean, if you look at the physics itself, they're right. I mean, what are the odds of that shit? Very slim.
Yep.
And number 10, weird orbit. Our moon is the only moon in the solar system that has a stationary, near-perfect circular orbit, although it's still elliptical. And that's true because the moon never really turns its face.
No, it never moves.
It's always facing us as it goes around.
Mm-hmm. We see the same side.
Right. Stranger still, the moon's center of mass is about 6,000 feet closer to the Earth than its geometric center, which should cause wobbling. But the moon's bulge, they used the word bulge, is on the far side of the moon away from the Earth. My bulge is far side away from your moon, baby.
With precise altitude.
My moon's bulge is far away from Uranus.
Yes, it better be.
That something must have put the
moon.
moon in orbit with its precise altitude, course, and speed. Moon diameter. How does one explain the coincidence that the moon is just the right distance coupled with just the right diameter to completely cover the sun during an eclipse? Again, Isaac Asimov responds, "There's no astronomical reason why the moon and the sun should fit so well. It is the sheerest of coincidences, and only the Earth, among all the planets, is blessed in this fashion."
Right, it doesn't make sense for it to be completely circular.
Well, I mean, the Christians would tell you, well, it's because God created it. Which, you know what? They might be right. They might be wrong. I don't know. But it is odd that it's like exactly perfect. None of the other fucking satellites of other planets in this whole universe, galaxy, are that perfectly symmetrical with their orbits. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird. And then, like, if it didn't originate all together.
Mm-mm.
So what brought it into our orbit and for it to be completely where it's supposed to be?
Or did they create us?
We already know they created us. We are an experiment.
No, I'm talking the whole Earth.
The moon created us.
Yeah, the moon created the Earth with its gaseous eruptions.
But we were here and then they showed up.
Maybe.
That's their spaceship. We've been looking at a spaceship praying to a spaceship.
What it's
and the
saying,
spaceship
yeah.
has been affecting all of us every month.
So the moon in mythology, Greek authors Aristotle and Plutarch, and Roman authors Apollonius, Rhodius, oh, that's a cool name,
Apollonius,
and Ovid
Rhodius.
all wrote of a group of people called the Proselynes, who lived in the central mountainous area of Greece called Arcadia. The Proselynes claimed title to this area because their forebears were there before there was a moon in the heavens. See, that's what I was talking about. It was Greeks.
Okay.
The claim is substantiated by symbols on the wall of the courtyard of Calasatia near the city of Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, which recorded that the moon came into orbit around the Earth between 11,500 and 13,000 years ago, long before recorded history. Now, here's a fun fact. There's evidence starting to come out that the pyramids and things are not 8,000 years old. They're closer to probably 20,000 years old.
Right.
So that would all fall into place with these numbers here
The
of
Greek
11,500 and
Right.
1300, because they're saying that the Sphinx has been around a lot longer than what they thought.
Yes.
So,
All of it had paint on it.
right. So it's just kind of like
It's just wearing down.
trippy if you think about putting all correlating, and maybe I'm just creating all this gigantic conspiracy theory with it. The moon came here, parked itself around us. These people came down on the planet, populated it with worker bees, us, and then went back up to the moon. After we were like, we revolt. We don't want to dig your resources anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck you, sir. Fuck you, sir. And they were like, well, fuck y'all then. We're not going to teach you anything anymore. Fuck you. And they left. And that's why we had such a technological dark age for so long. It's very kind of cool.
I think they buried it
Maybe.
because we didn't know how to use that kind of power.
Right. Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa said that the Zulu legends believed the moon had to be hollow and the home of Python or Chitari, or as David Icke calls them, the reptilians, a race of intelligent extraterrestrials. The legend states the moon was brought here hundreds of generations ago by two brothers, Wawane and Mompanku, who were the leaders of these reptilian extraterrestrials. African Zulu legends tell of an extraterrestrial race called the Chitari, who hollowed out a moon and brought it to Earth to use as a hub to oversee the control of the human race. This legend fits well into the theory of the reptilian-human hybrids, which are thought to run our world today. These two were known as the Water Brothers, and they both had scaly skin like a fish. This tale is very similar to the Mesopotamia and Sumerian accounts about the two chief leader brothers, Enlil and Enki, lords of the earth.
So it is a fishbowl.
Maybe. Credo continues telling the Zulu legends of how Wawani and Mompanku stole the moon in the form of an egg from the great fire dragon, emptied out the yolk until it was hollow, then they rolled the moon across the sky to the earth, which brought about cataclysmic events on this planet that ended the golden age of the past. Credo Mutwa claims that the earth was very different than it is now. That would be than, sir, not then. Before the moon had arrived, there weren't any seasons, and the planet was perpetually engulfed by a canopy of water vapor. People did not feel the strong glare of the sun that we do now, and they could only see it through a watery mist.
So that's why, like during the dinosaur age, there was so much greenery. Those
Probably.
plants grew huge because you were in a greenhouse. That made sense.
The earth was once a beautiful place, a lovely place, lush and green with giant redwoods, violets, and ferns with a gentle drizzle and mist. The water canopy fell to the earth as a cataclysm of rain when the moon was put into the place in the earth's orbit. This is symbolized in the Bible when it rains for 40 days and 40 nights, and this is what you had talked about.
Yeah.
The Great Flood stuff.
In every book.
Right. The arrival of the moon and the reptilians changed everything on Earth. It modified the Earth's rotation and angle. The Earth turned over on its axis and as we are upside down, as the legend says, and brought more powerful tidal systems that once had been much calmer. Women did not menstruate before the moon arrived.
How were babies born then?
Zulus and other native African accounts say the moon was built far, far away to keep an eye on people and as a vehicle to travel the universe. Credo says that the reptilians' giant mothership is the moon, and that's where they escaped to during the cataclysms of the Great Flood, which they had caused by manipulating the moon and creating other cosmic events. Well, could it be true? Outrageous as the spacecraft moon theory might first appear, consider how this model reconciles all the mysteries of the moon. It explains why the moon gives the evidence of being older than the Earth, and perhaps even our solar system, and why there are 3 distinct layers within the moon, with the densest materials on the outside layer, as one would expect of the hull of a spacecraft would be.
Right.
It could also explain why no sign of water has been found on the moon's surface, yet there's evidence that it exists deep inside. This theory also would explain the strange Maria and Mascones, perhaps the remnants of the machinery used to hollow out the moon. The idea of an artificial satellite could explain the odd rhythmic moonquakes as artificial constructs reacting the same way during periods of stress from the Earth's pull. And artificial equipment beneath the moon's surface might be the source of the gas clouds that have been observed. A scientist called Irwin I. Shapiro, who works at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, said, "Looking at all the anomalies and unanswered questions about the moon, the best explanation for this moon is observational error. It doesn't exist." Shapiro is a respected figure in astrophysics. His research includes using gravitational lenses to assess the age of the universe, strange anomalies on the moon. The following strange structures and happenings further propagate the mystery surrounding the moon. 1. Age of flashes. Aristarchus, Plato... Oh, I'm going to fucking butcher these names. Jesus. Eratosthenes... Biela, Rabbi, Levi, and Posidonius all reported anomalous lights on the moon. NASA, 1 year before the first lunar landing, reported 570 plus lights and flashes were observed on the moon from 1540 to 1967.
Wow, that's a lot of flashes.
Yeah. Operation
That could just be things hitting it.
Yeah. Operation Moonblink. NASA's Operation Moonblink detected 28 lunar events in a relatively short period of time. The Shard is an obelisk-shaped tower that towers 1.5 miles from the Ukert area of the moon's surface. Was discovered by Orbiter 3 in 1968. The tower, one of the most curious features ever photographed on the lunar surface, is an amazing spire that rises more than 5 miles from the sinus medii region of the lunar surface.
What if we take that tower out?
That's probably a command tower.
No, but wouldn't that bring them out?
Maybe.
Would it be like ants when you pour water down the hole?
Maybe. The obelisks. Lunar Orbiter 2 took several photographs in November 1966 that showed several obelisks, one of which was more than 150 feet tall.
What's the obelisk?
If you look at Egypt, it's that thing that looks like a giant unsharpened pencil.
Oh, like a
that
tube.
big tall stone structure that's got 4 sides and then tapers to a point.
Oh, okay.
It looks like a big tall stone weenie.
Okay.
An uncut
Like
weenie.
a silo,
Kind of.
but with the pencil top. Okay, obelisk.
Yeah. Obelisks. Dude, I don't know. This is all weird shit. And it's very, like, theoretical and very conspiratorial.
But
and
if you
very
hit
hard
something,
to prove.
No, if you hit something and there's a vibration inside of it, like a bell is hollow.
No, I get it all. I get it. I do. I get it. But I just don't.
If it's solid, it's not going to make that much noise. It's going to.
Yeah. But what if there's water in the middle of it? That water is going to carry that sound wave.
So that's what I'm saying. It's still hollow. It just has water in it with fish.
Fish people.
Fish people.
There's fish people on the moon.
Yeah.
So
That's why you'd make a titanium tank so that he wouldn't.
what I've gathered from all of this is that the moon is not made of cheese, and I don't want to go there anymore.
It was never made of cheese.
What?
The moon
Oh my
was
God.
never made of cheese.
I heard it was made of cheddar and Gouda
Not Gouda.
and all that good stuff.
No cheese for you.
No cheese for you! You
No
are a
cheese.
cheese Nazi.
No cheese for you!
I hope you guys had a good time with this show. Let us know what you think. What your thoughts on the space station moon is. And give us an email at thedeadtimeradio@gmail.com. Go to our website, thedeadtimeradioshow.com. And we will talk to you all again soon.